Welcome to the Investing Podcast, presented by Tusk Media. Now, for your early morning look at financial news and activity in audio and video form, here's the Morning Market Mimosa.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Morning Market Mimosa, the Investing Podcast. It's Monday, September 19th, 2016. I'm Andrew Hall. Joining me, as always in the morning, Mr. Benjamin Nye. Ben, how's it going?
It's going well. Had a good weekend.
Good. Yeah, you had a great weekend.
Yeah.
Real good weekend. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Before we jump in, if you send us any of your company swag, we will use it on the air. ETS Solution, our telecom provider. Of all the telecom providers we use, Ben, this is the most average.
Top up. Really?
They do really normal work, not great, sometimes slow to solve problems, but at the end of the day, most of the time, our internet and our phones work. So, shout out to Elite Telecom. I don't know if they're elite. I don't think they're elite.
100% C.
Yeah. Shout out to Right in Line Telecom. Thanks for the mug, especially. Futures up. Got a lot of green going on right now. Dow futures up almost 0.5%. S&P futures up about 0.5%. Nasdaq up 33 bips, so 1/3%. Gold up 0.5%. Oil up 1.3%. Which kind of ties into that first topic there. Pretty busy weekend on a number of fronts, but we got a full-blown gas panic. I'm not going to call it a gas shortage because I got gas this morning, no problem, but full-blown gas panic. Where were you when you realized the world might be ending?
I was seeing, I was watching the gasoline prices. I was driving past a gas station. I'd see 210. Go to the next one, 215, 220. It was just
$8.99.
It was just incredible. I did not know what was happening.
Total
what was going on.
Pandemonium. I learned about this from where I learn about most important issues from my neighborhood's Facebook page, and a lot of moms freaking out there. A lot of moms worried. Minivan only had 0.8 of a tank. Couldn't find gas at the front of the neighborhood. Had to drive to the next gas station to get gas. Total panic. Nashville, a lot of issues I heard. And I also saw a thing where a guy said that the gas consumption was up 65% at his gas stations, which is a pretty big jump. But all this stems from a pipeline leak, Colonial Pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not good for them, I wouldn't think.
No, it's definitely it's a joint venture between a number of different parties. There's no one with a huge stake that I was able to find.
It doesn't look like there's anybody really getting beat down by this necessarily, but so that's happening.
Except the neighborhood moms.
Exactly. Facebook stock through the roof because thriving on that panic. But people really worried about it. My advice is if you need gas, get gas. I think you're going to be able to do that for the most part. Again, needed it this morning, pulled over, got some gasoline. If you're in Kennesaw and you're listening to this right now, Stylesboro and Kennesaw Due West gas station, fill her up. Lots of panic though. I love to see a little unmerited panic over things like gas prices.
Yeah,
I love it. More, I think, appropriate causes for panic. Some of these attacks we had over the weekend. We're not supposed to use the T word, terrorism. But I think anytime people are attacking large groups of people, that's terrorism.
Right.
I don't care who's behind it. A mass stabbing in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Odd crime.
Right.
Just mass stabbing, not something you really hear about a lot unless you're playing like GoldenEye stabs only.
Yeah.
Mass stabbing that ISIS has claimed responsibility for, but I think people are really slow to say that it's ISIS. But it feels like, we were talking about this a minute ago, it feels like of all the things that have gone wrong, this is relatively minor on the scale of ISIS. So if they're claiming it, I think I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, it's just stunning. There's all this security for all these various higher tech attacks, and then it just takes
One dude,
crazy person to just go around being an idiot.
Yeah, and I think that's like a big. I don't know, the ISIS attacks were just one dude doing their things. I mean, that's kind of crazy. You can't really plan for that.
No.
Then we had the pressure cooker bomb in New York, and then I guess they found similar components
Yeah.
in New Jersey.
Right.
Trying to figure out if there's some links there. I guess there's
I think
still
there's like five
Yeah.
locations. or
there's
something.
still a lot we don't know. They do now have the suspect for the New York stuff, so
Okay.
there's the manhunt going on there. For the longest time, they didn't know who they were looking for, so always good to know what you're looking for. But just kind of a crazy weekend. I feel
Right.
like all this stuff was happening. Just headline after headline, just kind of going across the screen as I was watching football, and really focusing on the important things in life. But yeah, lots of volatility, it seems like, climate-wise, politically especially, and we've got first debate coming up 1
Right.
week from today. Got a little Trump momentum going, it seems like.
Yeah.
The birther thing last week was...
That was pretty well orchestrated.
I have a
All
real
credit.
issue with you if you are downgrading what Trump did there.
Yeah.
Because he made it completely about him, owned the media, owned the moment. No one here thinks he did anything other than push this rumor forward.
Right.
No one's second guessing that, but the way he just owned that moment and captivated the entire media circus yet again, I don't know how we can not give him props for that.
Right.
Um,
Especially, Hillary was supposed to be back out. This is going to be her, re-energized
Yeah.
last push after pneumonia, and then just no one knows, no one knows where she is, what she's doing.
And then last night, I don't know if you watched the Emmys.
Not really.
Jimmy Kimmel hosted it. I thought he actually did a great job. I don't like award shows, but he kept things moving really nicely. But he called out Mark Burnett, the creator of a lot of reality shows, including The Apprentice. And he's a British man. And he said, thanks a lot for giving us Trump. Your master plan has worked. Well, later in the night, Burnett won an award and went out and said, had his phone, and he said, Hillary Clinton just called Jimmy. She said, thanks for the 5 more minutes of free advertising for Trump, because they just had a lot of Trump jokes. So Trump, he's there. The debate's going to be insane.
Oh, it's gonna be the biggest debate.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. GM, stock that I know you follow pretty closely, getting an unexpected upgrade. Talk to us.
I did not think they would ever get this upgrade. It's coming from the Morgan Stanley analyst Adam Jonas.
Serious yard work going on right now, but we're going to keep going.
So GM is getting an upgrade from Morgan Stanley analyst Adam Jonas. Jonas, I just have not understood his analysis for the better part of really 3 years. I mean, he has had $300 plus targets on Tesla, and then he's had very low targets and sell ratings on GM. GM actually produces cash flow, positive cash flow, and Tesla does not.
Not close.
But Jonas has talked in the past about, well, if the American industry goes back to selling 11 million cars a year rather than 18 million cars a year, then GM won't do very well. So we don't want to buy GM. It's like, well, yeah,
We're gonna but it'll be 11 million Teslas.
right, exactly. So Jonas actually upgrading the stock now. $29 price target goes to $37 price target. He goes straight from underweight to buy.
It's aggressive.
Big upgrade
Yeah.
from him. I guess kind of declaring victory on his sell call, although it hasn't been very high yielding sell call. But bear that in mind. That almost makes me a little nervous about buying GM.
Yeah.
But we'll see
There's
how
certain
that plays
guys
out.
you don't necessarily want on your
Right,
side.
right.
Pokemon Go, a darling of the investing podcast. We've done episodes on Pokemon Go. I've quit probably about 2 months out.
Mhm.
You're telling me there's some upgrades coming.
Yeah, so I was on Recode today. This morning they're talking about adding battles, they're talking about adding events and trading.
Trading
as well.
is like the biggest thing I want.
Yeah, so we might be able to do a valuation, an analysis on the value of a Bulbasaur versus a EV. And so stay tuned for that. We might have a special coming up on that when they launch that out.
So, little known fact, Matt Burton, Narwhal's esteemed founder and president, still playing Pokemon pretty hard.
Oh yeah.
He's caught on the Pokédex more individual Pokemon than anyone I know personally.
It's 107.
He's at 107. He's not going to stop.
for me, it's just been demoralizing just watching him. Like, so I just quit because I knew there was no way that I would ever catch him.
He
up.
just keeps going.
Yeah.
He just keeps going. One of these days he's going to come back to work too. Twitter and the NFL, I thought this was an interesting note. We talk a lot about Twitter, internet broadcast rights, things like that. Twitter streamed the Thursday night football game, which I watched on Twitter. You watched on Twitter.
Yep.
Intern Barrett watched on Twitter because we all pulled out our phones at a bar and watched the game on Twitter. So we were part of this data. But Twitter, for those out there who don't know the deal, they paid $10 million for the rights to broadcast live 10 different Thursday night NFL games. Sounds like a lot of money, but for context, CBS pays $45 million per game. Put that a little bit more into scale. For $45 million, CBS got 48.1 million total viewers on Thursday. For $1 million for that one game, Twitter got 2 million viewers. So a nice little capture ratio there. Cost of acquisition wasn't too bad if you want to look at it that way. And I do expect that Twitter's probably more likely to grow its audience for that particular piece of content than CBS. So it seems like a decent deal.
Yeah.
Maybe a sign of things to come in the future. Also seems like something that a lot of people who own content would want to get behind.
Right.
Because they were just showing the straight NFL Network feed on Twitter. So that takes very little on your end to provide them with. And if you can pick up an extra $1 million or $500K for something that's lesser, or $100K, kind of seems like something you'd want to do.
And more competition among
Yeah.
more people who want to buy rights is always a good thing.
Yeah, and I think that, Twitter won the bidding process to get these games, so there were multiple bids, and to see that, hey, basically they were getting, 2 viewers per dollar spent. Average viewing time was 22 minutes. I think a lot of people out there would pay, that 50 cents for 22 minutes of user viewing content.
Right, and that average user viewing time
That's huge.
is a huge point, because I mean you could see people just checking it out, see what is this all about, but actually spending a decent amount of time on there.
Yeah, so average was 22. It's harder to get the average number on actual television sets, so that 48.1 million basically was people that watched at least 1 minute.
Okay.
Same with Twitter, the 2 million was people that watched at least 1 minute of it. But yeah, 22 minutes is pretty solid. I mean, you start thinking of NFL broadcast, probably about 3 hours. It's a Thursday night game, not that compelling of a matchup unless you're really into football. Yeah, it seems pretty decent, especially watching on a phone or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Football in general, you had a great week in our college pick'em contest, 11-2.
Oof.
That's incredible. Against the spread, no less. You're leading comfortably. Krebsbach trailed for this week, but he and Sam are tied for second. I'm right on their heels. Then the interns, 2-1 with their lock of the week. So interesting. How much college football did you watch? Anything stand out?
I watched a decent amount. I was impressed by the Ohio State win. I was impressed by. I was actually really disappointed with the SEC's performance. I think Alabama did all right. I mean, they're the number 1 team in the country.
Yep.
I think there's no really disputing that. I was really upset though yesterday when the rankings came out and Washington fell a spot. Georgia gained like what,
5 or 6,
five or six spots from beating Missouri by 1 point, and Washington crushes Portland State, the powerhouse of Portland State.
Portland State might be better than Missouri. I'll throw that out there. I'm a big Georgia fan. Couple massive red flags for this team. If you need to throw the ball 55 times and you have 2 legitimate running backs, there's something really wrong with your offensive line. And if you need 5 turnovers to beat a team as mediocre, if not bad, as Missouri, then there might be something wrong with your entire team. Not a great game. I thought it was a good, true freshman quarterback, incredibly clutch last drive. That was, program-wide, that was really encouraging. It was fun to watch. I will say the game was fun to watch. Last year, Georgia football was never fun to watch. The game was fun to watch because you were making big plays on defense, and you had kind of the unknown of what's this quarterback going to do, and late in the game, marched the length of the field, threw just a dart on 4th and 10 for a 26-yard touchdown. I mean, with a minute left. So it's hard to beat that. That was awesome to watch, kind of that quintessential coming-of-age moment. Now, he could go on to never complete another pass in his career, and that'd be a real bummer. But no, so that was fun. We're going to check out the Dogs in person in 2 weeks, going up to the Tennessee game. Should be fun. But yeah, it's kind of wild, just the rankings.
Yeah.
A lot of volatility, it seems like. We're starting to get into the meat of the schedule. We're starting to see real teams play real teams. I think Georgia's claim to fame right now is they're undefeated. They've beaten a top 25 team, a division rival on the road, and barely beat an FCS team. So that's the trigger. How many undefeated teams do you know with a win against a top 25 team and a win of less than 3 points against an FCS team? Not many of those. So Georgia's kind of a lot of diversification in those wins.
Right.
But yeah, interesting. Louisville crushed Florida State. We somehow, first of all, we totally missed that on the line sheet.
Yeah.
Like, just didn't have it on there. We probably would all missed it.
Yeah, I definitely would have.
I don't even know what the line was. I like Louisville. I like their defensive coordinator. He used to be at Georgia. They've got several of Georgia's best former players who followed him, transferred away. And I like Lamar Jackson a lot. He's electric at quarterback. So I like that team, but they beat, I think it was the largest margin of defeat for Florida State ever. That was not expected.
Then just put up over 60 points
Yeah,
on the
it's
team.
insane. So yeah, I mean, some fun games. Bama Ole Miss was fun to watch. A lot of good games coming up this week. So should be a fun week. We got Florida, Tennessee. Who's Washington got?
Washington has Arizona.
Yeah, that's right. So
Powerhouse of Arizona.
we got that. Washington, Georgia, and Wisconsin, our three teams are kind of like right there in that bundle. So, you know, Krebsbach, I think he's got the most overrated team in the country. I'm just going to say that while he's not here to defend it. I guess we'll stop before we get to lunchtime talking about football.
Yeah.
But that's all we got. Thank you guys for being here. We'll be back later on today, and y'all have a great day.
Tusk Media is a subsidiary of Narwhal Capital Management. Ratings and reviews of Tusk Media content are not to be construed as endorsements of opinions, analysis, or services offered by Tusk or its parent company. The opinions and predictions shared here are our professional beliefs at the time of publication. We are not under duress from any of the corporate entities mentioned. This is not a solicitation to take any particular action. Although we are investment advisors, this information should not be considered investment, legal, or tax advice. We strive to be as impartial, insightful, and accurate as possible. We base our opinions, analysis, and calculations on information we believe to be reliable, but we cannot guarantee its accuracy. We can, however, guarantee that our opinions will sometimes be flat out wrong due to a variety of factors. Employees and clients of Narwhal Capital Management may or may not hold positions in the securities detailed and may or may not hold these positions in the future. A full list of all securities purchased, sold, or held during the 12 months preceding the date of this publication can be provided upon request. Unless otherwise noted, all data accessed via MarketWatch or the Bloomberg terminal. Past performance does not guarantee future results. A copy of Narwhal's Form ADV is available at the SEC's website, www.advisorinfo.sec.gov, or from Narwhal upon written request.